What's up, YouTube? We are back with part two of Dele talking about his abuse, addiction, and mental health.
The best way to burn fat and get shredded is not keto,
Oh
paleo,
my
it's not
god, I
carnivore,
hate
it's
this
not
guy.
lean, and it's
Alright, why
definitely
don't we
not
talk about
scripted.
this freaking...
You just
Dude, I hate that guy.
I think a lot of people hate that guy. I think we should put out like a video.
We really should. Like, yo, they keep spamming me with his ads for some reason. It's so
There's,
annoying.
Dude, that means this guy is paying money to get
Yeah,
advertised.
definitely.
I hear people hating him too. They talk about him being freaking annoying and he's always shirtless in every video.
And for all we know, he could be a scam.
We forgot to do like a trigger warning, viewer discretion type
And
of
as I
thing.
said right there, for those watching, this is a sensitive topic, so just keep that in mind.
This is gonna be a lot.
said before, people didn't know what was going on in my life, and you're right. I was a coach of yours, and I don't know about sort of your childhood. What we do know is obviously that you changed the name on the back of your shirt, which at the time told us that there was potential issue, obviously, with your biological parents. But can you just tell us about your childhood?
Something I haven't really spoke about that much, to be honest. I mean, I think there was a few incidents that can give you kind of a brief understanding. So, at 6, I was molested by my mum's friend who was at the house a lot. So my mum was an alcoholic. And then
Look at the snake trying to pretend to hold back his tears. Where were
Oh
you?
man.
Where were you when Ronaldo needed help mentally?
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh yeah. Yeah, Ronaldo was in a bad place too. Lost like a kid.
sorry.
You don't be sorry.
Yeah, so that happened at 6. And then I was sent to Africa to learn discipline. And then I was sent back. 7, I started smoking. 8, I started dealing drugs,
Selling drugs.
selling drugs, yeah. An older person told me that they wouldn't stop a kid on a bike, so I'd ride around with my football, and then underneath I'd have the drugs, and yeah. And
Sorry, he said dealing drugs. What the hell do you think, Gary Neville? Of course it's selling drugs.
At 6, got, what happened to him, and then started smoking and then selling drug at 8. Like, what the hell?
Caught you
Which
by
it makes
surprise,
sense,
huh?
you know.
Yep.
I mean, which it makes sense too, right? Became this football star, and then it's like having maybe the time of his life playing, and then all of a sudden it's being benched. Probably he doesn't feel like he's important anymore.
hmm
So it could be some type of that effect also.
Yeah, it could be kind of like a PTSD type of trigger, of how he felt when he was younger too. Nobody cared about him, and that's why, he had to fend for himself, and then now it's happening. Now it's happening again, but just in a different way.
And don't forget, while all this was happening, his mom was an alcoholic as well.
Yeah, let's not forget about that.
11, I was hung off a bridge.
By who?
A guy from the next estate, a man. And then, yeah, 12, I was adopted, so. And from then, it was like, I was adopted by an amazing family, like I said. I couldn't have asked for better people to do what they've done for me I mean, if God created people, it was them. They are amazing. And they've helped me a lot. And that was another thing, When I started living with them, it was hard for me to really open up to them because it was easy. I felt within myself, it was easy for them to get rid of me again. So yeah, I tried to be the best kid I could be for them. Yeah, I stayed with them from 12 and then started playing first team professionally at 16, and then it all sort of took off from there. So yeah, that's a kind of a...
So you had really only 3 or 4 years in your life of probably stability, that probably period between 12 and 15, 16 before it sort of went like that again.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, this is another thing I'm scared of about talking. Like, I don't want people to feel like I want people to feel sorry for me, because that's something I don't find easy to accept just within myself. So
Delhi people won't think that with what you just told us.
yeah,
You know, I think the fact that you're opening up and the fact that you're now speaking about it, I think people will recognise that this has been something that's been stored inside you, caged for 15, 20 years. You said you've been taken to Africa to learn discipline. What does that mean?
So my mum, because I weren't a good kid. They taught me in rehab I'm not allowed to say that, but okay, I got in trouble a lot, you know, with the police, but I had no rules. I grew up without any rules. Like I said, my mum she drank a lot, and I don't blame her at all for what happened. I think going to this place really helped me understand her and the things she was going through and what she had to deal with, and it was all she knew. She weren't doing it.
You going into rehab now
helps me understand.
Helps you understand your mum's situation,
because it was all she knew. Like, even when she let me go and I got adopted, she knew and I knew that it was what was needed to even have a chance of living the life I wanted to live and being successful. And because it was only going one way if I stayed there. My blood dad lived in Africa, and then I got sent to him. I was meant to stay there for a year.
How was that?
Horrible. I didn't want to be there at all. I think nothing against, you know, where I was, but just going from what I was living in, because we had no money. My mum had no money. There was always like 10 guys like just around.
Anthony? And we have mentioned this in the past, not in this, but when it comes to money, right? People might say they did it for the money, but it just goes to prove that money is necessary around the globe, because without money you don't have resources, you don't have food, you don't have house, any of those fun things to do that other people are doing, which I think is really important. Hopefully I wish it was like, I'm not doing this for the money, but when our world is basically based on money, you obviously gonna need money.
And let's be real here. The sad truth, the sad reality, you have to have money to even get help.
And that too, yeah.
I definitely agree with both of your guys' sentiments. Money is definitely important, just so you can live like a comfortable life, you know, and get your necessities met. Without money, there's not much you can do, really. Like, you can't be comfortable, you can't get help. Just like with his mom and his blood family situation, even if they wanted to help him, like, they couldn't. They literally had no money.
And the stress is to the roof for everyone. When am I gonna pay this? When am I gonna do that? Whatever the case is, it adds more stress to anything.
At that point, it's just all about surviving. Like, there's no time to even think about mental health and all that stuff. It's just trying to live, trying to get by, making sure you're not gonna die, making sure you have food.
Why people deal is probably financial reasons. 99% of the time. People don't do it just because they want to deal.
In your house?
Just in the house, yeah. Like, it was definitely like the drugs. But yeah, so there was that. And then it was just a big culture change. And I didn't want to be there, so I'd be a little bit more naughty. And then after 6 months, I got sent back.
By your dad?
Yeah.
Do you still speak to your dad now?
No. So there was a time he went missing for a while. And then, I mean, he's probably going to come out now and say some shit, but yeah, so he went missing. And then when I started playing for England, he came back. And then I used to speak to my mum as well, just to try and help her.
Do you not speak to your mum anymore now?
No. So when I was 18, around 18 I think, they went to the newspaper and like started accusing the family that adopted me of doing all this stuff, when they didn't know what they had. Like, they were the ones that used to make me go and see my mum. I never wanted to go. They would always tell me, she's your mum, like, you should just have a relationship with her. And I think that spoke volumes, like, what they were doing. They were just doing it generally because they're amazing people. So yeah, and then my blood mum and dad went to the press saying that these people are taking advantage of me. They want to go through my contracts. And I hadn't spoke to him for years. And I knew that wasn't my mum's decision, because I know she didn't really leave Milton Keynes. Like, there was no way she'd done that. So yeah, after that, I just felt so betrayed and let down and hurt that I just couldn't keep the relationship with my mum. And my dad, I don't want a relationship with him either. So.
What did the rehab?
Basically a deadbeat dad who only wants to come in the picture because he's famous now.
And it's making some type of money.
It sounds like both of them, to be honest. Like, coming to the press, try to talk bad about his adopted family now. It's just a mess, man.
There's a couple good things here, you know. At least he was adopted by a good family,
Hmm.
and then he was happy with them also. Because it's not most cases when childs get adopted, they get adopted by the best parents or someone like the ones he got.
And since you brought that up, I feel like they deserve some recognition too because of how amazing they are, how amazing they sound.
Like he said, it speaks volumes just them saying, go visit your birth mom, your father, biological parents basically.
Yeah, so they adopted him when he was pretty much at a low point, and when he started his career and he started going back to a low point, they offered to hear him out, try to help him, cried and tried to ask him what was wrong. And like you mentioned, they even asked him to keep his connection with his mom or like go see his mom. Not a lot of adopted parents would say that.
They'll be afraid that the kid's gonna want to go back and all this shenanigans.
Tell you about the impact of obviously the trauma that was coming from your childhood.
It was amazing what they did with some things. You know, they would really piece things together because there was a lot of things that I would question myself about because it went against my values and who I am as a person or what I want to do. And I'd question why I made them decisions, but they could link a lot of things. Like, for example, so I used to have like house parties and I didn't care who was in the house.
Whilst you were playing football?
Whilst I was playing football, so I'd have house parties and that was very much how my mum's house was. Without me knowing, it was my comfort zone, it was normal to me. So just little things like that.
Where did you go for the rehab?
It was in America.
So you spent 5-6 weeks in America?
6 weeks in America, yeah. And I met some amazing people there, I think, from all different walks of life, different professions. To be able to do that, and it doesn't matter where you've come from, what your trauma is. I think trauma is trauma. And your body registers it in the same way, no matter what it is. Even if you think you're fine, you've got nothing to worry about. Going and speaking to someone and opening up will help you realise that, okay, this could have, if it's not causing a problem now, it could have down the line.
Is that the big thing that you think you picked up whilst you were over there, that you're not alone and that you can obviously share your vulnerabilities with others?
100%. I think we all think we're so unique that no one else has the same problems as us. But speak to a few people in that place and you'll realise that you have a lot more in common than you'd probably think. You know, going there and speaking to them and listening to them and working together, it was one of the best teams I've been a part of, and I can't thank them people enough, let alone therapists and stuff there, just the people that were there.
In terms of where you're at currently now, obviously you're injured and you're obviously going to go back into it, and is the hope as part of this process for you to obviously think that, you know, you can sort of share with your story and that it can help others potentially going through it? I mean, whether it be a football player or other people in life.
Yeah, I think what I went through, you know, helped me really understand my purpose. Like, when I'm just going through everything, breaking it down, finding out why I'm here, what I want in life, you know, I know what I can do on the pitch. I mean, I think I've showed people what I can do on the pitch, and now I've got the feeling back, like before I went to Tottenham, when I had a lot to prove and I wanted to fight and I felt so much love and passion about football. I have that back, which for me is something I've missed for probably longer than I wanted to. But with the other side of it, I want to inspire people not only on the pitch, off the pitch. Enough from experience.
When you've been at your best in your life, you've had stability, I think, in your sort of mentors, whether it be your adopted family that you moved in with when you were 11, obviously who then gave you a really stable sort of teenage period, and then obviously when you were at Spurs and you had Maurizio Pochettino as well, you were absolutely sensational. Is that one of the factors with you, Dele, that you need that sort of strong leadership around you and that sort of strong mentorship, and when you don't quite get that, when it's a little bit more unstable, do you feel as though that's had an impact on you?
It definitely impacted me. I think Poch I couldn't have asked for a better manager at the time I was in. Him and his team, you know, not just him, there was Jesus and Miguel and Tony. They are amazing people and they're so understanding, and it wasn't like a footballer and a manager relationship. It was deeper than that, I felt, and that was what I needed.
What was he
at the
like?
time.
Can you just give me some specific examples of how he was with you, Maurizio?
He was just so understanding of the decisions I was making, and he was guiding, like, he cared about me as a person before football. which is what I needed at that time. And I think that's important for young players. I think when you go somewhere, it can be quite scary, I think. And I never had that fear of, trying to prove myself in that sense, because I felt like he was giving me the platform to express myself the best I could and be comfortable. I mean, players always used to say that I was fearless. I wasn't fearless, I was just brave. I think there's a difference, there's a big difference. Because I was scared of things. But I think being brave, you feel the fear still, but you still do it. And I think that's something that he allowed me to do. So yeah, I think he helped a lot in that period of my career, which is why it was tough for me when he left, because then you come into new managers and it was hard for me to let anyone in at that point and to be open, and I felt like everything was just so fake when managers would speak to me. I just felt like the conversations weren't real, because there'd always be stuff in the media.
What do you mean by that fake?
It's hard to explain. It's something like it's probably more me in my own head, in my own ego. I want.
What do you mean? What does he mean about it being fake?
You play football, you know what he's talking about.
This guy, man.
Acting like he doesn't know.
Well, I did like
You're
that
the
Dele.
definition of fake. I'm just kidding.
Here we go.
I did like that at least Dele said it might have not even been the manager, it could have just been me and my ego. That maybe
Yeah.
sometimes you take things too personal.
Yeah, I really respect him for saying that, to be honest. It takes a lot of self-awareness and being responsible for your own actions.
I
Not
think
saying that there's not fake managers or any of that, but at least he's also saying he also could have been part of it.
Exactly.
it takes a lot of guts to say what he's saying. What a brave man.
I mean, Guardiola's been fake, doesn't mean he's not a great football coach.
Yeah.
Ask Zlatan.
Man, I want to hear Zlatan sit down and talk about that, bro. Oh, man.
Ask Aguero.
Let's go, Aguero, exactly.
When he first came in, he wanted to get rid of him, but when Aguero was leaving, he started crying.
Crocodile tears. That's good.
Ask Gundogan. He was one of the best players and didn't want to sign his contract.
To let anyone in, and I didn't feel like any of them wanted to really know me in a personal level, which was then tough for me to fully commit and give my everything for them, which obviously had a negative impact on me in the long run.
There's an editorial in the documentary around you, which obviously you'll be aware of, where words like lazy were used by Jose Mourinho.
Yeah.
And then obviously there was the sort of one-on-one that he had with you, which was one of the sort of most fascinating parts of that documentary, where he talked about reaching your potential and that don't just deliver in moments.
Sorry, guys.
All right.
If you guys want to see why Jose Mourinho was part of the problem, stay tuned for part 3.
This part is definitely a lot heavier than the last one. Definitely trigger warning, and I feel for Dele, man. You really don't know what anyone is going through until they really tell you. So just try to be kind to everybody, and yeah, man, just be kind.
He did get better and more authentic, like Anthony said, as the interview goes.
To be completely honest, I didn't know he was going through this. I just thought he was just a player who went from the top of the world and just fell off just cause.
I didn't know he had anything to do with this either.
I knew about like his childhood issues, but not to this extent. This was pretty eye-opening. I didn't know that he had to deal with so many things at such a young age, and then never had a stable environment until he went to his new adopted family, obviously. My respect for Dele definitely went up, because despite everything he's been through, and despite his career not going well right now, he's trying to, like he said, try to fix himself and also keep fighting for his dream, keep fighting to keep playing soccer.
Now that I look at it, even though he's not really ready, I felt like it was a good idea to share with everyone what he went through so people understand.
I'll leave it at this. Just like anyone who has this type of trauma, you have to continue seeing a therapist, you have to continue seeking help. And obviously you require money for this. It just goes to show that not just in America or in England, but all around the world needs to do a better job with mental health resources for everyone. But stay tuned for part 3, yo, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, thank you for watching, guys.